I have to start right now as we introduce Pro Football Hall of Famer Champ Bailey, the former cornerback that probably picked off your favorite quarterback one too many times. Champ, there was a lot of people who were rejoicing when your Bulldogs fell last night. Did you get a chance to watch it?
Oh my God, I had to turn it off. I was like, I can't watch this. It's unfortunate, but that's what makes this tournament so great. So I would just focus on the greatness of the tournament and not talk too much about my dogs because yeah, it's highly disappointing. I was looking forward to them at least getting to the Sweet 16 this year.
Yeah, it would have been fun. And again, you got a lot of things to figure out around that program. But you yourself, at the very least, the reason why you're in Palm Beach County making the rounds, and the reason why you're joining us here on Theoretically Speaking, you got a tournament of your own to figure out and make sure your team can wiggle its way through. And that's that Sandlot 7-on-7 that's coming to our backyard in Wellington. Champ, what are the specs around that? You have a team? You got some players there you're trying to promote?
I do. I do have a team. My son Braden, who's 16 and a sophomore now, he sort of pulled me into this atmosphere, right? And he's going through his recruiting process and his experience in the game. And now we have our own team, right? We played on other teams. We dabbled in it the past year and a half. And now we got our own team, the CB24 Diamonds. And we're looking forward to seeing where that goes. And fortunate enough, there's so many tournaments to get in, but there's none more special than the Sandlot tournament, basically because you have all these NFL greats that'll be in and around these kids who are trying to follow their footsteps. And I think it's only fitting that you bring all this together in one place. So it's a heightened atmosphere of mentorship, leadership, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, who are some of those other NFL names? I know that you, of course, are prominently focused on your team, but there's a lot of guys that are in town for this thing that we're going to be able to enjoy both today and tomorrow out in Wellington. Who are some of those other names that have teams and programs out there?
Well, I know Marcus Colson's involved. I know Puka Nakua has a team. I know there's so many guys. I want to say it's about 15, 20 guys that I know of that's here. I'm looking forward to seeing, who these current players are so I can get out there and talk about how I would have shut them down if I was still playing.
Yeah, you know what? You did a lot of that, and I'm sure nobody's going to have any rebuttals for you as they approach you here. Champ Bailey, 12-time Pro Bowler, former Broncos cornerback, joining us here on Theoretically Speaking, talking about that Sandlot 7-on-7 that's in town. For you, man, one of the things that gets lost in your legacy, in your resume, is the fact that you were a prolific two-way player in your days at UGA, playing corner and wide receiver. When you've watched what Travis Hunter was able to do in college and what he did some of in his first year in the NFL, do you ever have these little thoughts in the back of your head like, man, I should have gave that more of a try. I could have seen what I looked like as a receiver in the league?
Well, sometimes, and it's only just because I love football. And, I think realistically speaking, I made the right choice, right? And I made sure that I played a position that I knew I could excel at. And, I probably could have excelled at receiver. I know I had a couple coaches tell me, yeah, I would have drafted you first round as a receiver. Well, hypothetically speaking, yeah, of course. but in my mind, I'm like, man, I can control my own destiny at corner. And I'm just glad I went down that road.
When you see what Travis Hunter went through his first year, what were some of your thoughts? I mean, because this is a guy that a lot of people do say could be elite at either position. He wants to be elite at both positions. I know you got a relationship with Coach Prime. You played with him back in your day. Just how difficult is it to do what he's trying to do? And what are your thoughts on what he's going to be able to do in his NFL career here?
Well, it's tough as hell to play one position. For somebody as ambitious as he is to try to play two at a high clip, I get it. I understand the ambition. I was that guy. Prime was that guy. We all tried to do it. Charles Woodson was that guy. So, we've seen others try to do what he's doing. The unfortunate part is he got hurt. I think he was just starting to hit his stride, and it's unfortunate that he got hurt. But it's funny how much you learn that first year. So I'm sure him sitting back and reflecting on the things that were thrown at him and the things he can get better at. We're gonna see a real rejuvenated Travis Hunter. I saw him working out, not long ago. So it's good to see that he's on track to be healthy and ready for the season because this dude is a dynamic athlete, one of the best I've ever seen. And he won that Heisman Trophy for a reason. And I'm just glad that he has a coach that's going to give him the platform to go out there and display all his abilities. And I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes.
Yeah, we are as well. Again, Travis Hunter, a Boynton Beach native from South Florida, played his high school ball out in Georgia, where your son Braden's playing currently.
Oh, yeah.
And I heard first of all, you know what? A round of applause, a celebration. I saw he got his first P5 offer, a South Carolina offer. So what's it like being on that side of things? Is now you have a son going through the recruiting process?
Yeah, it's not his first P5 offer, but it's his first SEC offer.
There we go, SEC.
And the funny thing is, when you crack that door open on the SEC, it sort of validates the work you've put in. But he knows it just means you got to work harder. And we don't put a lot of stock into these these offers right now. The idea is to continue working, because ultimately it doesn't matter what opportunities you get. If you're not prepared for them and you don't go out there and do what you're supposed to do, none of it matters. So he knows the important part of it. And I think just keep your foot on the gas, keep doing what's more important. And that's just putting the work in.
Pro Football Hall of Famer Champ Bailey joining me, Theo Dorsey, here on Theoretically Speaking. He has a team playing in the Sandlot 7v7 that's going to be out there in Wellington through the weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have some flag football as well as some 7-on-7 action from the tackle football players, where we got a robust amount of talent that comes out of South Florida. For you, man, you've seen a lot of it up close and personal. Give me your top 3 of high school football competition based on the states. I'm from Texas. I've covered football in Georgia and in Florida and in North Carolina. I know a lot about Cali. To this day, I still think that South Georgia and Georgia specifically might have the throne there. Give me your top 3 when it comes to high school football competition.
Well, Georgia's number one, of course. Being a Georgia boy, I've seen so much talent come through our state and still exists to today. It's getting better, to be honest. And, Florida, Texas, California, you can almost pick your poison between those 3. But they're a close second behind us, but they definitely not first place. So there you go. You got four states that are really dominant, and I think Georgia reigns supreme.
I'm not going to argue with you. You have a better eye for the game than I, and I also was very enamored with it. I spent about 3 or 4 years covering specifically in South Georgia, covering the high school football, and it is a high level product that y'all put on. For you, Jaylen Waddle to your Broncos. When did you see that notification? How'd you react, man? That's a big gift for your Broncos.
Wow, it's funny you asked that, because I was doing an interview when the news came across the screen. I had to give a big reaction to it, and then I saw what the Broncos gave up. I was like, oh damn, they really wanted this kid, but he's always been a dynamic player. I mean, deep ball threat. We know his toughness. It's what we need. And I think as a Bronco fan now, I could tell that we just needed more playmakers on our offense in order to keep up with the at least the superiority of our defense. Our defense really carried that team and almost won a couple playoff games with that team. So fortunate enough for me, we got a guy that can stretch the field, give Cortland Sutton, a good tag team partner. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens now.
Which of those kind of guys is more difficult to cover? Which one did you feel like you excelled better against? Those, field stretch, speedster kind of guys that you got to try to keep up with stride for stride and Waddles, or those big-bodied receivers like Cortland Sutton that can beat you on digs and can go up and get balls over guys?
Dude, they both present their own problems. For me, the fast guys were tough because you always had to account for the speed. And you just don't know how tired you're going to get. You just know at some point you're going to be running deep a lot. And you just got to make sure that whenever they do it, that the drives are short. And when the drives continue, after you run deep a couple times, it becomes a bit of a nightmare, because now teams come at you with the run game and this and that. So the speed guys are tough, man. I give it to my big boys. But the speed guys, they always find a way to get you winded and have you stretched out, pulling hamstrings. I mean, it's a nightmare, man. I played against some of the fastest guys I ever played, Deshaun Jackson, Joey Galloway. I mean, just to name a few.
For you, Champ, too, I don't know if you saw this, but apparently one of the pushes from the NFLPA right now is that if you do an 18-game regular season, if the NFL does expand it a game, that NFL players outside of quarterbacks, kickers, and punters, they are only allowed to play in 17 of the 18 games to kind of protect
But
guys. You know, look, that's why I wanted to bring it to somebody that played the game. If you're an NFL current day player, how against this would you be because of the fact that there's no way you're going into a game week knowing that your brothers are going to play, but you got to sit out because you can only play 17 or 18?
I don't know. I mean, level the playing field. I think if you're out there, everybody has to, uh, I guess, move by the same rules. I mean, the standards have to be the standards, and it has to be equal across the board in my mind, right?
Yeah.
But 17 games is more than enough. I actually thought 16 was pushing it, right? But I understand, the business side and why it makes sense when you're not out there. But for the players and their safety, 16 games was plenty. And, it was almost like a compromise to get to 17. Now we're talking about 18. Of course, it'll be a 20-game season before you know it.
And I
Then
was
we'll
about to
be playing
say,
like basketball players. So, I mean, when does it stop? So let's cap this thing off while we're ahead.
yeah, I was about to say, you don't give anybody any ideas because the more money, the more problems, and the NFL is going to be seeking out as many of them
Absolutely.
games as possible. The Sandlot 7v7, man, that thing is coming to town. How competitive do these 7-on-7 games get when you're out there watching these guys go after it? Because you're removing
Ooh.
the pads, but you still got these one-on-ones going on between DBs and receivers, and you know how mouthy that can get.
Oh my God. I mean, I tell a lot of kids, man, don't get caught up in the hype. Just go play ball, right? You can talk your smack and this and that, but you better be backing it up. But on the flip side, man, they're so competitive, and you want the kids to compete at a high level. And I think the beauty of 7-on-7 is you get to continue working on the things that translate to the football field from a skill position standpoint. Yeah, there's no tackling, there's no real blocking, there's none of that, right? But the idea of being out there, working on your footwork, working on your hands, your ball skills. I mean, it's paramount. So I get it. But while we're out there, man, just continue to just keep working on your craft. And that's what it's all about. I think when kids put the development part in front of them, everything else just kind of falls into place. So just concentrate on just doing the work and doing it at a high level.
Got you. We're looking forward to seeing how that pans out. It's a Friday through Sunday affair. The Sunday is the championship out there. And again, Sandlot 7v7 on Instagram. To see the schedule, to get involved, and to get out there and watch some of the great action, you'll see people like Champ Bailey and other NFL legends of the game coaching, monitoring, and getting guys ready. One last thing before you go here, Champ. Any prediction you want to give on how your squad is going to fare in the 7v7?
Well, I got to be honest. This is our second real tournament. And, all these kids are starting to get to know each other. We've had a couple walkthroughs, and, I put them through things because as a defense, you got to be able to communicate. So just trying to teach them the little things that matter. So right now, if I had to predict, we should make it to the championship game. We have that kind of talent. Now it's just individual talent don't win games. We got to make sure that they're gelling. So I'm gonna make a bold prediction and say we get to the championship games.
I like it. Call your shot, man, and we'll be
Damn right.
we'll be there to see it. And again, that'll make up for the loss of your Bulldogs last night, man. That'll make up for all of that.
Yeah, we got to overcome that one way or another, right?
Already. Hey, Champ, I appreciate your time, man. Good luck to you and your guys, and many blessings to you. Appreciate you pulling up on Theoretically Speaking.
Thanks, bro. Good talking to you.